Hi, Mama, and welcome to Empowered Hospital Birth, a podcast by Looma Birth. I'm Elizabeth, your host, and I'm so excited to get in here. This is officially episode 1, why you still don't feel ready for birth, even after all the research. So I am a birth doula, a birth educator, a mama myself, and I have spent the last decade supporting women inside one of the most transformative, most intense, and honestly, a really misunderstood experience of their lives. And this is something I really care deeply about. And I'm so excited to be launching this podcast and recording this first official episode as we talk about birth. So we are going to dive into why you still don't feel ready in birth, even after doing all the things. And that's because it's how you're feeling inside. Information does not equal empowerment right away. So this is about your experience, Mama. It's the environment, your nervous system, how confident you feel, your ability to take care of yourself and stay connected to yourself. So here, we're not going to just talk about checklists or stages of labor or what your doctor may say. We're going to dive deep into what is going on beyond that surface level information. And we're going to talk about how you can stay grounded, feeling supported, and really prepare yourself to be on the other side. So let's get into this because this is something that I see all the time. You've probably listened to all the podcasts, watched TikTok University, saved the Instagram posts. Maybe you've taken your hospital birth class, bought some books. You're doing the things, right, Mama? You care. You're being intentional. You're setting yourself up for success. But you want to feel ready in your heart, in your gut, in your head. And you're just not there yet. Underneath all of these feelings, there's this sense that I'm not ready. And then why don't I feel more confident? Shouldn't I feel better than this by now? Am I missing something about childbirth? This is such a normal, natural state. People have been doing this for thousands of years. Why do I feel so isolated and alone in my pregnancy and preparing for birth? This is the struggle. I want you to feel seen in this experience because you are not alone. I have spent the last 10 years hosting prenatal circles, hosting prenatal yoga, talking to mamas and my clients about just witnessing their experience in pregnancy, right? I have 3 kids myself. And so even pregnant with my 3rd kid, almost a decade into this profession, I wanted to be in a room full of pregnant other people and hear their stories about heartburn and sciatic and all the things that they were experiencing in the pregnancy, not because I didn't know that this was normal and natural and things that come up, but because I wanted to know I wasn't alone, right? And this is something that comes up, is so common that I hear from my mamas, and I wanted too when I was a first-time mama, a second-time mama, and a third-time mama. I wanted to know that I wasn't alone. I wanted to know that what I was experiencing was experienced by others. I wanted to be part of a collective that made me feel like I was doing things right, that I was preparing and I was learning, and you're leaning into that space. And it's a space of intention. It's a space of embodiment rather than fear. And still, even with all of those things, wanting this, having lived this myself, we still feel this sense of uncertainty. We don't know how this baby and this pregnancy is going to unfold. And that can even spiral sometimes for my families into anxiety, right? Huge thing. And then we feel shame and we feel guilt because we're having anxiety over this thing that's supposed to be normal, supposed to be natural. We've learned about it. We've been educated about it. I'm built for this. But what the heck is going on? I'm spiraling into these 2 a.m. Google fits. I'm asking ChatGPT, is this normal? Is this natural? Why is this so hard for me to feel like I've figured it out, right? So if this is what you're feeling, I want to say this to you really gently, Mama. You haven't done anything wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. Not in your head, not in your body. You're not behind. You're not missing something super obvious like, oh, you just need this one more video and all these pieces are going to click into place. You're actually having a very accurate, very expected response to the way most birth education is happening right now. Because here is the truth. And I want you to really hear this. And this is why I'm starting my whole podcast series talking about this. Because the information, the concrete information, even what I sell as a birth educator, right? Empowered Hospital Birth Online, right? That isn't the same thing as getting you, mama, prepared. You can know so much about birth. Like I said, my third baby, I knew it all. I had already attended 100+ births as a birth doula at that point. And I still felt unsteady in actually being in the pregnancy, being in that birth experience, because it is not just about consuming the content and watching TikTok University or educating yourself on YouTube or listening to podcasts like you are right now. It's not the scrolling, the watching, the listening. That's passive, right? We can do that automatically. We do that as a modern society to numb ourselves, to disconnect with ourselves. But births, that's not passive, mama. We can't ignore it. It is going to be a full-blown experience of your mind, your body, and your soul. It is something that happens real time inside you. It is going to move your baby from inside you to outside you. We can't be numb to that. We can't ignore that. We can't scroll through that and experience it, right? We have to be checked in. We have to be inside our bodies experiencing it in real time. So we have to be able to make decisions and navigate the intensity and be in an environment that we don't fully control when we choose to give birth at the hospital. And those are two wildly different things. So being educated and understanding and this information world, yes, but then being embodied, being informed and inside our bodies while making decisions, while navigating intensity, while staying cool and calm and collected, all while doing this inside an environment that we don't fully control, being inside the hospital system, such two different dynamics that are happening. And this is why you don't feel prepared yet. This is the piece that I think misses for so many of the mamas that I work with. Birth is not just something you can learn about in a book. It is something that has to move through you, mama. That has to feel inside you and outside you. It's something that your body is going to do while your mind is trying to keep up with it. And there is a massive difference between this, between knowing what a contraction is and being inside one. Trying to decide, do I stay home? Is it time to go to the hospital? Do I go in? Do I say yes to this? Do I say yes to that? Do I ask for more time? Why does this feel differently than I expected? And this is the moment. This is when most mamas realize, oh, this is different than I thought it was going to be. I hear that all the time too, mamas, right? So like my clients, we start having contractions or we hit the pushing time and they're like, whoa, this is so much harder than I thought it was going to be, or this is so much more intense than I thought it was going to be. And that's because we don't prep for this physical aspect that no matter what kind of birth you're going to have, no matter what kind of birth you are prepping and planning for, you will go through a physical, an emotional, and a spiritual element of this experience. So if you're sitting there listening to this podcast and you're feeling, I should do more, I should feel more ready, I want to offer you a different take, a different way, a reframe. What if you were not underprepared, mama? What if you've just been preparing in a way that doesn't translate to the real experience that you are preparing for? What if the gap isn't you, but the way the information you are consuming is being delivered? Because most of these education courses out there, most of those hospital classes, right? I've been doing this for over 10 years. My clients always come to me and they're like, oh, I did my hospital class. It was for free, right? Because most of those educations are talking about how to be a good patient. They're talking and telling you what will happen with you. And maybe you're getting a class that's going to give you like stages of labor and really bare bone overview. But what these classes aren't teaching you, regardless of what birth education class that you're taking, it needs to work on what is inside of you. How are you responding to these sensations, this intensity, this intimate experience being done in a public arena? And how do you stay connected to yourself, your partner, your baby in those things, in those intensities, in those contractions? That's exactly what I'm trying to do here at Looma Birth. Inside this podcast, Empowered Hospital Birth, this is what I've tried to build in Empowered Hospital Birth Online. I know my mamas work so hard. They have done so much preparation by the time that they've met me. And this is really true. This is the difference of working with mamas now than 10 years ago when I got started, because you are already so much more intentional. You are so much more thoughtful in the process and knowing and having some understanding of what to expect. And you've done some research. You've read some books. You've listened to some podcasts. You have been on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and watched some of those videos and those reels. And still, you need us. And that's because you need an anchor in the experience, mama. You need to work with yourself. You need to feel safe to be able to experience these intense emotions and physical sensations. And you need an anchor, whether that's us, whether that's your partner, whether it's learning how to create an anchor. But that's why you don't feel ready yet, because you need to learn how to integrate this information with your body, your heart, your soul, your brain. You need to understand, what is it really going to feel like? How is your body really going to respond, and why? What the heck is actually happening in your body? Yes, we are built to birth, but what does that mean? And then let's layer on hospitals, mamas. That's why we're here. We're giving birth at the hospital. We need to know and understand the hospital environment, how that plays into it, and how to stay grounded when we move outside our home, our cocoons. So it's not just you being informed. It's how to support you in the experience itself. So if this is for you, if you have been quietly carrying the feelings along the lines of, I thought I might be ready, I thought I should be ready, I thought I'd feel more ready, I want you to hear this. You are not behind, mama. You are not doing this wrong. You are not the only one feeling this way. You have just reached the edge of what information by itself can do for you. And that next step, that support, is actually what meets inside you, where you get to meet yourself in this whole new way, in this whole new light, where you get to integrate yourself by listening in to your intuition. And this becomes the experience that changes everything. And as you prepare for your birth in this new integrated, holistic, complete way, you get to meet your baby this way. You get to meet your partner this way. You get to meet parenthood this way. And this is why, truly, I'm getting emotional now. But I feel like I am changing the world one step at a time, one family at a time, one birth at a time. Because when we are intentional with that integration and that embodiment in the way that we show up for ourselves, for our families, it changes everything. I want you to know you are not alone in feeling all the feels of being unprepared, because truly labor and birth is not something you can prepare with just your logical mind. It's something you have to prepare with in your heart, in your physical body, and in your brain. And you have to learn to integrate all three pieces to have that empowered hospital birth experience. So if this episode resonates with you, just know you don't have to figure it out alone. I am here to support you with this. This is the exact kind of support we offer inside Looma Birth. It's everything that I have built as a first-time mama, through a third-time mama, through 10 years of birth work experience, through classes, doula support, and our online programs. I hope we can help you to feel more empowered and elevate your experience of becoming a parent. You can find all the details in the show notes. If this helped you just a little bit, feel a little bit more seen or grounded or connected to the experience, I would love for you to share this with another mama who might need to hear this too. I'll see you in the next episode.